There's nothing quite like the holiday season. It's the best time of the year, but also far and away one of the most hectic. Simplify what you eat with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service. My wife's a teacher, and Factor's had her covered for lunches at school. The jalapeno cheddar chicken is her favorite meal so far, while I've quickly taken to the creamy Parmesan chicken and green pepper and beef casserole as Ole Miss football rings in the postseason and it's prime recruiting season. We haven't skipped a beat at our house because we can rely on Factor. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes. All you have to do is heat and enjoy. What are you waiting for? Head on over to factormeals.com/TOC50 and use our special Talk of Champions promo code TOC50 to get 50% off. That's right. Factormeals.com/TOC50 and promo code TOC50 to get 50% off. Continue to support your wellness goals while feeling your best this holiday season. Try Factor today, a proud sponsor of the Talk of Champions podcast network. Welcome into the Flagship on this Monday, December 4th, 2023. I'm Ben Garrett at Spirit Ben on Twitter. He's Zach Berry at Zach_Berry. We both write for the Ole Miss Spirit. OMSpirit.com and affiliate of On3 on a busy portal Monday. This is the Monday, December 4th, and players can officially get into the portal. And it's been crazy action so far. It was crazy action last week. And, of course, Ole Miss knows its postseason destination. Florida State got ripped off, so Alabama gets in. And Ole Miss is going to the Peach Bowl to face Penn State. And the last time they win, it didn't go so well. It was 2014 against TCU. So let's hope for a little bit better this time around. Hey, buddy.
What's up, friend? Yeah, it's exciting. First and foremost, for me as a fashion guru in the college football realm, love the uniform matchup. It's going to be awesome. So here's my thing. And for the Peach Bowl folks that are tuning in to the show, I hope you hear it. Please let them do a color on color matchup. It'll be incredible. Think about Ole Miss, powder helmet, red uniform, white or gray pants, who cares? But then Penn State with the white and the navy. I mean, it just will look so good on TV. Inside, under the lights, I know it's an indoor game, but the lights in Mercedes-Benz, it'll pop. It'll look really good. Ole Miss is the away team, but come on, just give us a color-on-color matchup. It'll look so good. But, yeah, first time ever. It's exciting.
It's going to be hard. Ole Miss is the away team, so it's going to be hard for the second year in a row. They did 12 different uniform combinations. It's going to be hard to do 13 when you're the away team in the Peach Bowl. But maybe they go powder blue helmet with powder blue numbers on white. I don't know.
Maybe they got a new alternate.
We'll see. But probably the Peach Bowl, the matchup is certainly far more interesting and far more enticing than it would have been had what we thought was going to happen had happened. And Ole Miss had played Iowa in the Citrus Bowl. Now, I had already booked a room to Orlando because I'm going to tell you this, Ole Miss, that's all Ole Miss was expecting.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to go ahead and get it out of the way. I was going to go to the Citrus Bowl. I'll go to Atlanta too, but that one's more of like a 2-day trip. The Citrus Bowl, that one, you're going to have to take the family to Disney World. Basically, that was going to be the Christmas gift to the girls. They were going to go to Disney World. I was going to go watch Ole Miss play Iowa State in a probably terrible game because Iowa State offensively is just
Iowa State.
It's just torture.
Iowa State gets to go to Memphis.
Oh, good for them. I'm in Iowa. Iowa and Ole Miss in the Citrus Bowl was what we all were hearing, and a little bit of the Cotton Bowl, especially once the hijinks of the playoff started coming into play here. Ole Miss deserved a New Year's Six. The resume was far and away as good, if not better, than most of the top 6 in the country. So to be able to get in and get this opportunity and this be the reward after this season, congrats to Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss football. They deserved that.
Mm-hmm.
But it had to come at the expense of Florida State getting historically screwed. But that's neither here nor there from the Ole Miss perspective.
Hate to see it.
How could the NCAA or not the NCAA, but the selection committee. You know how hard of a task it is to make Florida State sympathetic, and yet here we all are on Monday.
Yeah. I saw that Holly Anderson tweeted that out yesterday. She was like, "How dare you make me feel bad for Florida State?"
Yeah, this is the same program that gave me far and away my most memorable, in a very negative way, recruiting memory, which was Cam Akers. I mean, this is the same program that Mississippi State got all up in arms and made sure that 2 players went to, including Fabian Lovett, because Ole Miss, quote, tampered when all you're seeing.
Jerry Jones is
still playing.
Has been awesome this year.
Been awesome. Would be awesome for Ole Miss right now, and was coming. And then State threatened, well, you were tampering, and now you look and everyone is tampering. Dillon Gabriel got into the portal on this Monday. Dillon Gabriel will be going to his 4th school, if my math is correct. It was Central Florida, then UCLA, then Oklahoma. Whatever.
Ole Miss. You could throw Ole Miss in there. He was pretty much almost going to go to Ole Miss.
Yeah, he was going to Ole Miss. Then Jeff Lebby left to become the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma. We might see Dillon Gabriel starting Mississippi State quarterback. And to just see how all this stuff is kind of connected in college football, I talked to Jackson Arnold in recruiting. He visited Ole Miss. He was the top-ranked, or one of the top-ranked quarterbacks in that class. Absolute stud. So they want to
Oklahoma's going to be okay.
Yeah, they're going to be fine. They want to hand the keys over to him. I get it. And now you have to consider these things. That's what's fascinating about the culture now. They wanted Dillon Gabriel to come in for a year, ball out, and leave for the NFL. Well, he's not leaving for the NFL. And wow. Jackson Arnold still has his 1-year penalty-free transfer. They're like, wait a second. We it's time to get the future started here. And now the idea that you can see Dillon Gabriel after a successful, 1 year, 2 years at Oklahoma, go to Mississippi State. It's going to be Mississippi State or Oregon. But Jeff Lebby's the reason he went to Oklahoma. Jeff Lebby was the reason he was coming to Ole Miss. And now Jeff Lebby's the head coach at Ole Miss. So a lot of just truly remarkable and headline-grabbing moves being made on this Monday. What's really sticking out to you, though?
Well, going back to the tampering thing, you know how many guys I've reached out to that have said, yeah, I've heard from a bunch of people, but let me wait until Monday to tell you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not officially in, but hearing from people. Yeah.
And most kids that have gotten in, like the big-time, highly ranked guys,
they know
Dante Moore, they know where they're going. Dante Moore, I mean, there might be 2 options or 3, or maybe they had a good idea of where they were going. Like the backup quarterback from Oregon State, who was a 4-star, Chills, I think his name is Chili's.
Aiden Childs, yeah.
Childs, I didn't even know his name. But he's following the Oregon State coach to Michigan State. There are certain guys that are I wouldn't be surprised if, for example, and the reason I bring up Dillon Gabriel is for this exact purpose. I wouldn't be surprised if he's already agreed, hey, if I don't go to the NFL, I'm going to go through the process a little bit. Then I'll come follow you, Jeff Lebby, to go to State and play for a year. Sure, why wouldn't I do that? A guaranteed starting job. You got Will Rogers going to Washington, which has become like, I guess.
What?
Mississippi State players go to Washington. I don't know. Dylan Johnson's there.
And just when I was thinking Kalen DeBoer was a genius, how is he going to do this? You're going to go from a guy like Michael Penix, who can make every single damn throw, to Will Rogers?
I don't think that would be done. I think they would take him as, oh, well, if we don't get done what we want to get done, we also have Will Rogers. But again, that hasn't happened yet. That's just the rumor.
Yeah. The name that needs to be out there for Lincoln Riley and SC, Kalen DeBoer, and Grubb at Washington, Oregon, because Bo Nix is finally leaving college after the bowl game. Somebody better go get Cam Ward.
Mm-hmm. He's the most popular. He's one of the most popular names in that. That's again another Ole Miss old recruiting friend. Visited Ole Miss. Ole Miss,
great guy.
Yeah,
good quote. Fun to talk to.
Ended up with Jackson Dart instead, because he followed what was then his junior college coach to Washington State. Well, now he balled out. Washington State won 4 or 5 games, and the market. I mean, he's already been offered in the millions. $1 million, 7 figures to go to multiple places.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn is after everybody. They're after every quarterback they can possibly.
Yeah.
So fortunately,
I was going to say, a lot of people thought Grayson McCall was going there. Now, NC State has some momentum there. Auburn's going after Riley Leonard from Duke.
Of course they are.
Hugh Freeze has to get a quarterback.
He knows that.
Nobody on that roster right now can do what he wants to do. And there's no way Walker White can come in as a true freshman. I mean, maybe he can. No, I don't think he's.
That's just that. Dion actually brought that up. Somebody was talking about, is it still possible in this day and age for freshmen, highly ranked freshmen, to come in and really make an impact? Well, not comparatively with the portal, right?
Quarterback's just hard, man.
It's just hard now. It's harder than it's ever been because you can go get the second string quarterback from Alabama who's been through these wars before.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at names that have popped up, and here are the ones that, after talking to people all weekend, you've been doing it too, and this is why we really got together. It's awesome that Ole Miss is going to the Peach Bowl, but when Zach and I get together, we mostly talk recruiting. And here are some names I've heard. First and foremost, Pooh Paul, linebacker from Arkansas. He has been offered by Ole Miss now officially.
Got offered today, yeah.
Okay. Ole Miss wants Spencer Brown, Michigan State grad transfer offensive lineman. He was supposed to come in this weekend and didn't, but it's Ole Miss, USC, Oklahoma among the offers for him. Just today, Ohio State wide receiver Julian Fleming. Everybody's going to want him. Everybody. That's a former 5-star recruit, 79 career catches. Wouldn't surprise me at all if he knows exactly where he's going already, but he was a name.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona State defensive lineman BJ Green.
Yeah.
He had 6 sacks this year.
Led the nation in hits on quarterbacks. Monster.
Tulane wide receiver Chris Brazell II.
Could be.
He had 44 receptions for over 700
Could be some
yards.
Frank Wilson vibes there. We'll see.
Yeah. Vanderbilt defensive back, and this is another old recruiting name, DeRicky Wright.
Yeah.
131 tackles.
Great linebacker.
7 TFLs.
Dude was all over the place in the Ole Miss game this year.
5 interceptions. And that's it. That's what I've got right now written down as I was preparing for this. Who all else have you heard? But I think the Pooh Paul one from Arkansas, the linebacker.
Yeah.
Again, when we say that sometimes guys,
100%.
not sometimes, most times guys have an idea of who they're going to talk to, or more often than not, where they're going. I'm not saying that's the case with Pooh Paul, but he's one we've been hearing for over a week now.
Yeah. This morning it started bright and early. Jake, our colleague Jake Thompson texted me last night. It was like, I guess you'll sleep in like a month or so. And I was like, yeah, maybe. Early this morning, Brandon Turnage from Lafayette High School, went to Alabama, went to Tennessee. I've been told by a source that is in Oxford, pretty connected. Ole Miss likes his versatility.
We're doing this again. We're doing it again.
Yeah. They think he can play all 5 positions, and there could be some smoke there. That was this morning. Walter Nolan, the 5-star defensive lineman from Texas A&M, announced he was getting into the portal last night, and almost immediately Lane Kiffin retweeted it. Everybody's going to want him. Legitimate first-round talent. He was really good at Texas A&M this year. Had that what at the time seemed like a scary injury. Ended up being okay. He is in the portal. He's a journeyman, Ben. He's like 4 different high schools, went to A&M. Everybody thought he was going to Tennessee, signed with the Aggies. Elijah Robinson gone. He's in the portal almost immediately. A couple other names that have gotten in today that I'm keeping an eye on. Kyle Kennard, Georgia Tech edge guy, 11.5 tackles for loss this year, 6.5 sacks. Ole Miss has gone to that well on the flats there in Atlanta a couple times and had success with Samari Walton and Jared Ivey. Could be a name there. I did actually have a source in Atlanta reach out to me earlier in the weekend about him. So we'll see if Randall Joyner goes back to Georgia Tech. Shamar Porter, a Nashville area guy, went to Innsworth, wide receiver, Kentucky. He is in the portal. Lane Kiffin recruited him last cycle, 4-star guy. Could be something there. And then, most of it right now, outside of the names that absolutely know where they're going, have already, worked out deals, talked to coaches, all of that. Honestly, now it's just going to be a monitoring game. See who gets in, see who immediately receives offers, and who sets up visits. Defensive line, I think, is one of the heavier positions in the portal that's getting a ton of names. A couple today, Samuel Okunlola at Pitt. Ole Miss recruited him. It was a previous staff. He was a Northeast guy, so Marquise Watson recruited him, but was a pretty good player for Pitt. Big physical guy. They're going to need to get bigger up front, get older up front. Probably going to potentially lose a couple guys after the Peach Bowl. Here's a throwback for you. Reggie Grimes, edge out of Ravenwood, just outside Nashville, went to Oklahoma. Ole Miss wanted him bad. Coming out of high school. Monster, big-time physical guy. But, yeah, the portal is just going to be insane. Again, you mentioned quarterback. Ole Miss is not going to get a quarterback. I don't anticipate that at all. I think they really like what they have.
You don't want to leave anything to chance. The offense, for the most part, is returning. Dayton Wade, as reported by you today on our site, the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, affiliate on 3, is going pro. We knew that was coming. I said that was coming last week. It's more likely than not he's just going to go. Trey Harris is probably going to go too. I think you keep Jordan Watkins back with a pay bump in NIL. Wide receiver they're going to add there, and those are splashy names. But the quarterback, unless one falls into their lap, I mean, you're not going to turn one away. If they fall into your lap. Spencer Sanders, they felt in a lot of ways fell into their lap. Now, also, they paid him far and way more than anybody else did.
I think
you do have Walker Howard there, and the need for this year, more than anything else, before you can start dreaming of, oh, you know what? We got the money. We got the spot. Let's go take, Dylan Gabriel away from Jeff Lebby in Mississippi State. Not that they would. But you can play games once you get done with the early days. In the early days, I think what we're obviously seeing is it starts in the trenches, specifically at defensive tackle. So Walter Nolan, go ahead. Are we going to roll out a piece for the people, like a hot list for them with all the portal names like we always do? Should we start that today?
I'll start piecing that together. I mean, today's just been insane.
Yeah. We need to wait for the first day to be done, I guess.
Yeah, we'll start putting our heads together. We'll talk to some people to see who are legitimate names to keep an eye on. And just to close the book on the quarterback conversation, when you say somebody has to fall in their lap, I mean, I think it would have to be somebody like Dante Moore, like a surefire 5-star, can't miss, got to do it. Because
long-term play more than necessarily.
Because everything I've heard out of that building, and you've heard the same, they love both Walker Howard and Austin Simmons. They think the future is incredibly bright. They are perfectly content is not a good enough word. Like, they are ecstatic about the future of quarterback.
Austin Simmons, I keep forgetting that. This is a player that if he was in the class this year
about him.
If he was in the class this year, no one would be saying anything about quarterback. I don't think they're going to add a quarterback. Having said that, because they have two. Last year they had Jackson Dart and no one else.
Oh, you had to, because everybody left, and then you had 2 walk-ons. And look, it's terrible. And look, he might do it again. It looks like he's beating it again. But one of your walk-ons, cancer flared back up. I mean, it's terrible. It's sad. But look, I think he's beating it again. Like, I mean, what a badass. But yeah, I mean, you had 2 walk-ons. You had to go get somebody. They get Walker Howard, they get Spencer Sanders, and then, you talk about falling in your lap. They get Austin Simmons, but they don't just get him. He reclassifies 2 classes. So he's on campus. He's in the lab. He's learning the playbook. He's ready to, when his name's called, he's going to step up. But, yeah, I think offensive line, defensive line, I think they would probably like to add at least one immediate impact linebacker. Yes. I think they obviously really like Suntarian Perkins. They've got TJ Dudley coming. He wasn't available because he got in after the deadline. He will be at that second level next to Perkins next year. You can book it. We talked about Tyler Banks. They love him as a
the frame. That's something too, though. I mean, they did so much work last year, and it wasn't just the big ticket items. It was building out the roster for the inevitability that they would have some guys that would leave this year as well. They built depth through the portal last year. Their primary focus is through the portal and building their depth now through the portal, not necessarily through high school classes. If you want to kind of try to come up with an answer for why San Frisco McGee or a Jeremy Scott, I'm not saying they're purging all of these guys, but some of them, I think it's fair to say, yeah, they're purging a little bit of their commitment list because they want as much room as they can for what they care most about, which is building an even depth through the portal. Chris Graves, for example, we talk about Ole Miss needing a cornerback. Well, they're going to be selective with their cornerback or their defensive backs in general because of what they did last year. Chris Graves is a good example of that. He was slow starting, got here late from Miami, but toward the end of the year really played well. I mean, that's a potential starter for you, replacing Zamari Walton, replacing one of Zamari Walton or DeAndre Prince. And they can be selective then with a guy like Upton Stout, the transfer defensive back from Western Kentucky, who they were interested in bringing in for a visit. Well, now they're like, well, we don't want to take that commitment right now. You know, we saw him in person, or we want to see. So Upton Stout then slips down the board potentially. Those in-person valuations, they can be selective at certain spots because they did a really good job of building a lot of depth through the portal. I mean, Jam Griffin, the running back from Oregon State. Now, he's not one that played much at all. He played some special teams. But next year, the thing is once you lock those guys in after they transferred for 1 year, those are the most precious and valuable commodities in the sport now. Jackson Dart and Walker Howard can't go nowhere. I mean, you would kill for Walker Howard to back up Jackson Dart this year, and Austin Simmons getting him to reclassify for this or for last year and come in as a 17-year-old. Essentially, you could have him in your program for 3 years. Now you're going to have to recruit to keep him, but the portal building and the depth building through the portal, I think, has been probably the most impressive thing they've done, because a guy like a Chris Graves, for example, and players that you forget were on this roster, right? You're like, oh yeah, wait a second, they have so-and-so that didn't play a lot, because like TJ Dudley picking him up this portal cycle and being made immediately eligible like a Monty Montgomery or Jeremiah Jean-Baptiste. You're like, oh yeah, plug-and-play starter. He had to sit, but that's a potential plug-and-play starter. They deserve a lot of credit for the depth that they've built specifically through the portal, and they're going to do it again. But that's why it allows them now to really attack needs more than just wants, and or maybe something like like they don't have to go big ticket hunting or big ticket shopping for a quarterback for certain spots that have really hampered them other pursuits in the portal. It was all about the quarterbacks 2 Decembers ago when they brought in Dylan Gabriel and Cam Ward, and who's the quarterback going to be? Now it's, hey man, Walter Nolan. Yeah. Now Walter Nolan could be the answer for what they need. You know what I mean? They need something right there, a physical presence in the middle of the defense. So it's a different time, and it's an all credit to Lane Kiffin and them, because the portal is where they make their hay.
Yeah. I think you're going to see that's a great point, and it was something that I was going to mention. Also, before I forget, do want to mention podcast brought to you every single day by the College Corner. You know about them over on Sisk Avenue in Oxford. Go see them for all of your merch, gift, tailgating needs. They will have bowl gear. Talked to Scott yesterday. They will have Peach Bowl gear coming soon. They got Realtree gear, all that stuff. Go see them at College Corner, Sisk Avenue in Oxford. Get ready for December 30th before you head to Atlanta. Go scoop up some Peach Bowl gear, get you some Realtree stuff, and get to Atlanta, get to Mercedes-Benz, and get fired up for the bowl game. Also, 12 days of home field, homefieldapparel.com. They got a BOGO deal going on right now, 50% off when you use code STAFF. That's STAFF. Buy one, get one, 50% off. Can't beat it, with a stick. Just incredible quality T-shirts, hoodies. They got joggers, everything there at Home Field Apparel. Go check out the Ole Miss collection and get you some swag. Yeah, that's a great point, what you said about now they can be a little selective. They can go big fish hunting. They can go after the Walter Nolans, the Raleek Browns, the Reggie Grimes.
What they want, where they want to, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you can definitely be more selective, be a little choosy, because look, this class, I talked with John Wayne Oliver on Thursday after he won the state championship, and he was talking about, he's like, man, I know we're not up there, high in the rankings, but he was like, man, this class is deep. It's talented on both sides.
And
so
it's just small. That's it. It's just small. And that's intentional, in my opinion.
Yeah,
well, I mean, small, I think, compared to like Georgia doesn't do a lot of portal hunting. They're very select. I mean, they don't have to, I guess, but you get what I'm saying. I mean,
yeah. If they want to sign 30 guys, they'll sign 30 guys.
They'll sign 30 guys. Ole Miss deliberately doesn't. I mean, who's been the most impactful true freshman under Lane Kiffin, not named Quinshon Judkins?
It's definitely Perkins before he hurt his shoulder. I mean,
I'm glad that was answered. I mean, knowing that he hurt his shoulder and that it wasn't because they don't play freshmen or whatever, it was injury related, because it was bizarre. He was coming on and then he wasn't playing anymore. It's because he was injured. Okay, fine. But where's Aiden Williams? Where's J.J. Henry? Where's Barry and Brown? On and on and on, guys. And those are all wide receivers. Maybe that's the answer by itself. But who is the most productive? Because it's not a knock. It's just insight, in my opinion, into how this philosophically, this program under Lane Kiffin operates. And you don't have to necessarily agree with it, but the results speak for themselves. And so that's why come December 4th, once all the names officially get into the portal, now is the time to pay most attention. This is where Ole Miss's greatest roster building will be coming from, not from National Signing Day later this month, the first of two, not in February. The real work is being done starting officially today. And that's why we're here, because,
you saw Lane Kiffin said it.
Yeah.
They didn't have a watch party for what bowl game Ole Miss was getting. They were working. They're on the road today. I posted in the thread. You can read it at ohmspirit.com, affiliate on 3. Go check it out. If you're not a member, do it. Come on. It's $1. It's
$1.
Fantastic deal.
We've had a great run of subs, like a surge in subs. And I think it's because, you know what? We're just going to tell y'all every time we get together until they cut it off. I mean, you can sign up today for $1. And this is the time to sign up.
Yeah.
Because like
50% off an annual deal. Yeah. I mean, we're going to be doing this. And look, dude.
The hot list needs to roll out either today or tomorrow. We have to do that.
Of portal guys?
Yeah. Well, of everybody. We usually combine them all. I think we should just do the portal hot list.
Because I've got a V4 version of the hot list for high school guys that's been updated. But yeah, I mean, it's the coaches have been busy. They were out and about. They're in Pine Bluff, Arkansas today, talking with Charleston Collins, trying to complete that flip of the defensive lineman that's committed to Arkansas. And yeah, I mean, the portal has just been just insane today. I stepped out, walked over to Walgreens to get some batteries, and I come back and I've got, 22 text messages. I've got a couple calls I got to make. I mean, it's just, it's been crazy. So we will keep you abreast of everything that we know and can confirm, but needless to say, it is going to be a busy couple of weeks before the December signing period. Portal guys are more than likely going to want to have their destination found and take a visit if they want, get their paperwork approved, and get in a building and start working in January. Probably also going to see a lot of movement after the bowl game. There's going to be some players that are going to want to, play their final game in an Ole Miss uniform and then get in the portal. You're going to hear a lot of decisions with guys that, can come back. They have a COVID year. Will they come back? Will they go somewhere else? Will they go pro? All of that is going to continue to happen. But yeah, needless to say, Ben and I pretty much, Ben, I'm a sicko, so I'm around the clock for the most part.
Yeah,
but
you're the recruiting expert. You're the lead recruiting analyst. That's what I always make sure to say about Zach.
Expert.
You're the expert. Yeah, that's why I hired you, man. You're the one that's supposed to handle all of them on the day-to-day.
And that's what I do, man. I get down here. I got my bike down here. I'm in my nice little cave. I can sit down here and just plug away in the portal. But yeah, I mean, look, there's just in the SEC alone. I mean, dudes everywhere. I mean, you've got Will Shepherd from Vandy got in the portal. I mean, one of the best wide receivers in the conference in the last 2 years. I haven't seen an official announcement, but people expect London Humphreys, another Vandy receiver, to get in the portal. another just elite athlete. I mean, broke Jalen Ramsey's 200-meter record, can really run. When he's officially in, everybody's going to be after him.
Introducing the new and improved BNA Bank mobile app. From setting transaction alerts and tracking your spending habits to managing travel plans and turning off a lost or stolen debit card, you can take care of all of it in the new BNA mobile app. At BNA Bank, we know that life moves pretty fast, and we have the mobile technology to keep up with your life on the go. BNA Bank. Local, invested, modern banking.
The Talk of Champions podcast network is brought to you in part by the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation. It's getting close to the end of 2023. And if you need to make year-end donations for tax purposes, call the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation and they'll walk you through their philanthropic giving initiatives. Whether it's the Vault Society or Empower, both initiatives give you a tax-deductible way to support the Champions Now campaign for Ole Miss Athletics. Or if you're working on estate planning, call the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation to discuss Forever Ole Miss. For further information, call 662-915-7159. That's 662-915-7159. Or visit givetoathletics.com. That's givetoathletics.com. It's the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation, a proud sponsor of the Talk of Champions podcast network.
I think there was a fire lit under Lane Kiffin these last couple of weeks. I think the Georgia game was eye-opening in a lot of ways. Obviously, not just because of the blowout loss, but I think that was where Kiffin could really see where the roster needed to be updated. And now you win 10 games again, and you have a shot at 11 wins again. Didn't go well the first go-around. Matt Corral gets hurt. Everybody knows what happened in that one. This is look, I told you yesterday, I love the matchup. It's a winnable game for Ole Miss, and it's indoors, and it's in Atlanta. It's a fertile recruiting area, a fertile alumni area.
I just want to beat the shit out of James Franklin. I mean, I like James Franklin. Yeah. It's just, James Franklin's been like the every year Ole Miss candidate. Maybe James Franklin. Let's put him up. We're going to have to put him on the hot board. I'm hearing James Franklin. You know what?
No.
Let Lane go do his thing. Let Lane go.
Well, there it is. Little breaking news here. London Humphreys officially announces he is in the portal. Yeah. John Wayne might have to give him a call. Former CPA wide receiver, London Humphreys. Next time I see James and Alice Beach, I can rib him a little bit. Saw him there a couple times the last couple years.
Who's that?
Gave him a little. James Franklin.
Oh, your boy James Franklin.
He goes down to 30A.
Okay.
Yeah, I think last time I was there, I had like a Preds shirt on or something, and he made a comment about Nashville and talked to him a little bit, waiting on coffee. So yeah.
I like James Franklin fine, but I will say this: you're right. It's a marquee opponent. It's a marquee opponent with an
name brand program.
Name brand, but a good matchup.
And they've never played. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's why Iowa was going to be awesome. I know that the offense makes your eyes bleed, but you look like, how many times have you heard Ole Miss fans say, please God, do not put us in a bowl game against a Big 12 team again? Like,
yeah,
we don't want to see Mike Gundy again. We don't want to play Georgia Tech again in a bowl game. So it's cool to get a new opponent that never played. And look, indoors.
That 2009 Cotton Bowl was boring as it could possibly be.
Oh my God!
That year, everybody.
The only thing that made that one interesting was the Cowboy Ritas that I was putting down.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, this is going to be great because again, tons of Ole Miss people in and around Atlanta. It's close enough for people to drive. You don't have to, worry about flying. Some people will, but not everybody. And yeah, Mercedes-Benz, a fantastic venue. Again, indoors. So offense should be a lot of fun. And yeah, great matchup between, Manny Diaz going up against Lane Kiffin. Penn State has really good defense. Drew Aller really fell off as the year went on. So interesting matchup for Pete Golding in this defense, who I think shocked a ton of people. Top 25 defense per SP Plus metrics in year one is just an unbelievable accomplishment for that staff. Yeah, I'm fired up. I mean, I'm going to be there. It's going to be your boy's going to do a long weekend, no kids. It's not like I'm going.
The only way to do it. See, that's the one thing. That's what I was saying. I mean, going into Cap One, not the Cap One, the Citrus Bowl. I mean, that's when you have to take the family. You have to go to Magic Kingdom. I know Isaac Ukwu was excited about going. I think Chase Parham at Rebel Grove was saying how he talked to Isaac, and he was like, "I've never been to Disney World. I'm really excited." Everybody in the Manning Center was expecting to go to, the Citrus Bowl, and I'm glad it's Atlanta because the Peach Bowl, probably one of the most fun build-ups to the game week. I mean, the game week build-up to the game that I've ever experienced as a media member. So it's a really cool event, and maybe I should have taken the hint when I kept getting emails from I guess Peach Bowl media relations communication staff are like, "Hey man, you want to interview the CEO?" I've talked to Gary before, Gary Stoken, the CEO of the Peach Bowl. I've interviewed him before. He's like, "Hey, you want to interview? We got some time for you. You should come and step in and interview." And they did this twice. I'm like, "Man, that's kind of aggressive for a bowl." "Oh, maybe, Ben. Maybe you should get off your lazy ass because the Peach Bowl obviously really wanted Ole Miss." But I'd been hearing Cotton Bowl and Citrus. Cotton Bowl desperately wanted to pair Ole Miss with Texas, but then Texas got in the playoff because Florida State got screwed.
Our boy, Ben Woodhouse of the Legal Gambling Council of Hit That Line fame, he actually should get credit. We'll give him credit here. Told me it was around, 11 a.m. yesterday, local time, that he was hearing Peach against Penn State. And I was like, "Oh, that's fun." Yep. And then a couple hours later, boom, there it is. So, Ole Miss fans should be fired up. Just everything. Uniform matchup. Never played Penn State. Name brand. James Franklin against Lane Kiffin. Mercedes-Benz. I mean, hey, you could make a joke now. Hey, Lane Kiffin got to Atlanta in the postseason.
He did.
He did it. But yeah, it's going to be fun.
I don't think you can claim it like you can claim the 2003 co-SEC West champions. Just don't build a banner for this one,
Yeah, you get a banner. You get a banner in the IPF for the bowl game.
Yeah.
Or do they only hang the ones that the program wins, correct?
I don't think so.
Or do they do them all?
I think they do them all. They just only include the scores for, maybe don't even include the scores, just hang the banners. See, who remembers what? Hey, Zach, what was the score of the 2008 Peach Bowl? Do people remember these?
Well, Ole Miss wasn't in the 2008 Peach Bowl.
I know. I'm just asking you. So why would you put this? The only way you remind any casual, average college football fan of the score of the Peach Bowl that you participate in is if you include it. I promise you, the vast majority of college football fans out there, if you polled them and you said, "Hey, what's the score of Ole Miss TCU's Peach Bowl? Do you remember?" No one will remember that.
Hold on.
What?
Sorry. Jesus. We have a portal decommitment.
Oh, wow.
Less than 24 hours after committing, Leon Lowry, Syracuse, edge, committed to Wisconsin yesterday. It's already decommitted.
Oh,
yeah.
Let's not do that. Let's not start that.
When we say silly season, it's not hyperbolic. Like, it is for real.
Yeah, let's not start that, the decommitments from the portal, because then that's a whole nother layer that I just don't have time or patience for. Deion Smith's going to be one of the wide receivers that commits. That's the one thing I know today. He's going to be one of the wide receivers that Ole Miss adds, I think.
Yeah. And I think, Stonka Burnside, absolutely.
Hey, Paul Jones, our buddy over there at the Mississippi State on 3 side, he put in a prediction for Stonka to go back to Mississippi State.
85% confidence level.
He feels good about it. Maybe that means that this is one of the ones. That was my skepticism. Every year, Mississippi State pays for 1 or 2 kids. They make sure that does not get away. And I said this year,
hey, you gotta factor in the portal now. It's gonna be some funds allocated elsewhere. Levy's got to get a quarterback.
Dylan Gabriel's got to get paid if he's going to come be the quarterback of your Mississippi State Bulldogs. That sounds insane. What has happened to the sport? And look, you've passed over it enough. I just want to put it out there, okay? I spent my Sunday by the Hoover Met in Hoover, Alabama, watching my darling.
Did you go to the mall?
Second daughter, youngest daughter, Riley, pursue her dreams of gymnastics. All right.
Okay.
You pay $60 to watch about a minute and a half of your group performing to win an award that I don't understand.
$60.
Right? Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Oh, it was insane. And so the first thing, we get in there and they're getting dressed, they're getting ready. Their performance is until like 11:30. I watched the playoff selection with a bunch of Alabama fans, like dads of all these gymnastics girls gathered around TVs, and the eruption when Alabama came on the screen. It was announced by the PA guy, Alabama's made the playoff. People freaking out. And I was one of the only ones, and they thought I was on their side, and it wasn't. Oh, no, that's a ripoff. Because Florida State, I don't care about best team. I don't care that Jordan Travis isn't their quarterback. They're a Power 5 champion. If there was ever an issue, then you should have made it 6 to begin with, to make it 4 and then not follow your criteria and put in the team that had the better resume from a Power 5 conference. It's never happened before. Won their conference, went undefeated, and got left out. It's horse shit. I don't really care. I get it because Alabama's going to beat Michigan. So I get what they're going for.
That's what I said. I don't agree with it, but I get it.
I get it. I don't agree with it. I get it. But now all I can think is, dang, had Ole Miss just won one of those two against Alabama or Georgia. Just one of those two. Because the only win that mattered this year really mattered to this committee that selects our 4 playoff participants. Thank God this is last year. This is asinine. This is ludicrous. If Ole Miss had won, say beat Bama, lost to Georgia, they'd had a better case. Who would have gotten in then? You know what I mean? Could Ole Miss have snuck in? Well, they got into a New Year's Six. They've gotten to the Peach. Florida State should have gotten in. Alabama's going to win a national championship. It makes me sick. But hey, at least Ole Miss isn't playing Iowa in the Citrus Bowl.
Hey, you can thank I guess it was DJ James, the Auburn corner that failed to stop the mill throw. That's probably why Ole Miss got the Peach Bowl.
The former Oregon transfer that Ole Miss recruited and tried to get out of the portal that was one time projected to come to Ole Miss. Man, God, this is such a weird culture now. Oh, well, we'll be here and we'll be covering the Ole Miss portal situation and its pursuits. Officially, players can get in and become recruitable athletes again for the second time on this Monday, and a lot of movement so far. Who is your one guy, before we get out of here, your one guy from the portal that has emerged so far as a potential target that is Zach's guy for Ole Miss in the portal? I've got mine. I'm going to go ahead and go with Pooh Paul, the linebacker from Arkansas. Really, I'm going position more than player. They need a impact plug-and-play linebacker. But I might go Walter Nolan. I just think that one's that's going to be a hard recruitment unless they're already down the road. Who's your guy? Or maybe just position, because I don't want to have to box you in case these things change faster than in recruiting used to be with high school.
You gave some defensive guys. I'll get some offensive guys.
All right.
I mean, the dude that it happened, early last week, Raleek Brown from SC was a cheat code at Mater Dei, and honestly was kind of on a path to be a freshman All-American at SC, little banged up, ankle injury, and then just kind of got lost in the shuffle there with all their playmakers. I remember him in high school. He was a 5-star, really talented guy. Julian Fleming from Ohio State. I mean, come on. If Brian Hartline recruits you as a wideout, you can go. So they're probably going to have to replace Trey Harris. Dayton Wade's already gone. Outside of those two, I'd probably say, if we're going to look offensive line,
I'm just going to say my guy is Walter Nolan. Who is Zach's guy this year? If you could just sign up for one right this minute. And I mean, it could be a different opinion tomorrow, but right this minute, I would sign up for Walter Nolan over everybody else. Ole Miss needs a middle. Once I saw Georgia, which in my opinion had the best offensive line these guys have laid on in person in college. I mean, that their line was awesome. That's where it all starts for me. And when they blew up Ole Miss up front, I went, oh, God. And it wasn't just, oh, good first play. They're motivated. They're just coming in. It was bully ball. They just road graded Ole Miss, and it was a long afternoon. So Ole Miss has to get an anchor or two there in the middle. You mentioned Georgia Tech, for example, that they pulled from, and they're recruiting from Georgia Tech again. Akilo Stone, I thought he'd be one that really would help them a little bit more, and then you just didn't see him toward the end of the year. Isheem Young fell off, the transfer safety from Iowa State. Maybe they go back there, and now he's in the portal, back in the portal after transferring in from Ole Miss. So there's movement. And for me, if there was one spot that I could sign up for, guaranteed stud, yeah, okay.
Oh, wow.
Defensive tackle.
Take the number one overall player off the board, huh?
Yeah, I would take the best player in the portal.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I'll throw out Monroe Mills, offensive tackle from Texas Tech. Just a mountain, 6'7", 290.
Do we know of any Ole Miss interest there yet?
No, I mean, he's just now officially in. I haven't spoken with him. Reached out, haven't heard back, but now that everybody's officially in, they'll probably start talking more. So yeah, I'd throw Monroe Mills out there. Honestly, I maybe somebody that got kind of lost in the shuffle over just all the hoopla from the past week. Darius Smith from Georgia, edge guy. There are some Ole Miss connections there. I'd throw him in to the mix. But yeah, I mean, if you want to get a big-bodied receiver, London Humphreys, Will Shepherd, go after the Vandy kids. Juice Wells from South Carolina, man, you want to talk about some cold water. I mean, he was back and forth on social media saying that he was locked in. He was dealing with injuries, but hey, I'm coming back to Columbia. I'm a Gamecock. Boom, gets in the portal. So he's available now. I think they got to get a Trey Harrison this cycle. They got to get a big – now, he could come back.
That's Deion Smith.
Well, okay. But maybe a guy that's proven at the Power 5 level.
Deion Smith is proven enough at the Power 5
versus a guy that's JUCO. I'm not doubting his skill set or his ability, but if you can get a Julian Fleming, you talk about somebody falling in your lap.
Yeah.
If Julian Fleming wants to come to the SIP, yeah, come sign right here. And we'll let you pick out your car and where you want to live.
Who do we feel Ole Miss is most down the road with real quick? Let's just get some names.
Pooh Paul.
Deion Smith, who's JUCO, but also LSU. Spencer Brown. If he'd have showed up for his visit this weekend, the Michigan State offensive lineman, I think that would have.
Marley Cook is an interesting one. The defensive lineman from Middle Tennessee. Ole Miss went to see him. They're going to go see him again this week. Dude's got Ohio State, Oregon, Tennessee coming after him. I think they're pretty far down the line with him. Talked a good bit with him and going to go this week to see if they can iron out some details and try to get further down the road. I haven't heard back from him. I've heard some rumblings about Carter Smith, offensive tackle from Indiana. Haven't been able to confirm it, but I've heard some rumors that there's been communication with him. And then,
Well, I'm reading here, Walter Nolan has not officially entered the transfer portal yet. He's expected to, but he's going to meet with Mike Elko first.
Okay.
And if he officially enters the portal, A&M is still considered a contender to keep him. Buddy, if he gets in the portal officially, you ain't keeping him.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience with Davidson Igbinosun, you ain't keeping him.
Sam Brumfield, linebacker from Middle Tennessee. He was in town over the weekend. I think Ole Miss is pretty far down the road with him. Could be committing soon. Raylan Sharp, that's your Dayton Wade replacement right there. If you can lock it down. A former quarterback from Allen, Texas, made the move to wide receiver at Missouri State after starting his career at Houston. Really talented wideout. Yeah, I mean, there's some Jackson Bratton, linebacker from UAB, Pete Golding, recruited him, signed him at Alabama, transferred over to play at UAB. Big linebacker, 6'3", 230.
Wait, he's in the portal?
Yep.
Oh yeah, so that one could happen pretty quick.
You probably remember him. We're going to talk to some people today that will know.
So we just get back on the horn in a day or two and get back at it again. See where
we'll just same time tomorrow. Same time tomorrow.
This has been the Flagship. Well, it's not the Flagship. I guess this is not committed. I don't know. Whatever. We're going to figure it out. Whatever we call this is Talk of Champions, the podcast network, where Ben and Zach each have a lot of shows and sometimes come together, and that's the one we got to call something else. So I don't know what it'll be, but you can count on that for the next few months at least. It's going to be predominantly this, because this is the biggest story right now in Ole Miss sports. This is a playoff contender for next season, building out, addressing its weaknesses in its predominant player procurement avenue, which is the NCAA Transfer Portal. This is the way Ole Miss likes to do it. It likes to go portal diving, and the action's getting hot and heavy already. We'll have it all covered for you at the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, and affiliate of On3. I'm Ben Garrett at Spirit Ben on Twitter. He's Zach Berry at Zach_Berry. If you haven't already subscribed or review Talk of Champions, our podcast network in iTunes, just simply search Talk of Champions. And when you do, leave a 5-star review. Brought to you by College Corner, brought to you by Home Field Apparel, B&A Bank, Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Oxford, also the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation. We got a lot going on, man. Enjoyed it. We'll be back, I guess, tomorrow, Wednesday. We'll figure it out. See you, buddy.
See you, buddy.